brought my running records of my lowest kids. You told me if I brought them, you would help me to know where to go, and you'd help me analyze them.
Well, I'm glad you did them on this form, and I can see you know how to mark the errors, and you entered what they said instead of the right thing, and how to show when they self-corrected. Okay, you've done that.
And I've marked them in the error column and the self-correct column.
So you've used a total to figure a percentage to see how easy or hard or appropriate the book was. But did you notice the ratio for errors to self-corrects here?
No.
If a child's not self-correcting, that is a real problem. And also, you'd hope that they have a ratio of like 1 to 2 or 1 to 3. So let's take a look at that.
So on this one, they had 5 errors and 5 self-corrects. So I'd add the self-corrects and the errors together, and then divide by the number of errors. That would be 5 to 10, or reduced to be 1 to 2.
So that's kind of where you want to be. So now let's do the analyzing. But let me assure you first that this is not something you're going to do every day. You're not going to do it with every single child that you have in your class. But as you need answers to why is this child not moving, or what can I do to help improve their reading, this is a good place to go, and it'll help you know how to teach them. So let's just start with the first error. Now, I found this chart on the internet. There's a lot of good resources on the internet. This came from teachers, Pay Teachers. You're on that, aren't you?
Yeah.
And this is a free download, and I thought this would be a really good one for you to watch because it kind of helps you to see, are they using meaning, are they using syntax or structure, or are they using visual? Because you were having a hard time trying to figure that all out. So I think this would be good. So let's take this first error. They said this book was the 3 Billy Goats Gruff.
Mm-hmm.
So they were supposed to say Billy, but he said goat. So that's an error. You've marked that here. So what did he use to get to that? Up to that point, did it make sense? He was just thinking it was a goat, so it makes sense. So we're going to circle the M. Then, does it sound right? A goat? Sure. Yeah, it sounds right. But visually, is goat like Billy?
No.
Not at all. So we can't give him a point. That's what he needed to do to be able to self-correct. He needed to visually check it. This is Isaac. He's one of your ELL students, isn't he?
Yeah.
And so you're going to often see that. That's good he's bringing the meaning in, because often, well, you have his old record too. So let's take a look at that one in a minute, because I bet you he's changed over time. So we've got the meaning, the syntax, and the visual. So the next error was on the word gruff. All he said was g. So what are you guessing he was using?
Well, he was.
Wouldn't have been meaning.
Well, I think visual, because you got the g.
Right.
Like
anytime they just say a portion of the word and it's like the first letter, they're getting some visual.
Right.
But he needs more visual than just the first one. Okay, the next.
So you circle what they did.
Yeah, this is what right here it says information used.
Okay.
So now let's do mom for middle. So I'm going to put an MSV here. Okay,
Well,
think about it.
I mean, he got the beginning of the visual, but
It was something about like the middle Billy Goat Gruff.
right.
But he said the mom Billy Goat Gruff. So was he using meaning?
I don't know.
Well, I think he was. I mean, I think it was a noun, right?
Okay.
And he thought it was the mom Billy Goat, because we've been talking to other books like the mother goat, mother bear. So I think he was using some meaning. And if you think about the syntax, is it like noun for noun, verb for verb? The middle Billy Goat, the mom Billy Goat, was that structure
that would
okay?
work, yeah.
Yeah. And visually, was it similar?
Yeah, it had beginnings.
So that's really cool. You see a child using all 3 cues, meaning, syntax, and visual.
But when do you say that it's not visual? Because they might get the beginning, but what if they just give up and make up the word?
Then they wouldn't. If he had said something that started with an M, anything that started with an M, we'd probably give him.
Okay, so really
visual.
just, if it's just part of the letter, the word, then
it's some visual. So in summary, if you just think about the errors, if you MSV the errors only, you're going to find out what are they bringing to the table, what are they using on their own. So we can just count them up on the errors. 1 meaning, 2 meanings, 3, 4, 5. He has 5 times that he used meaning. It wasn't enough, but he used it.
Right.
And structure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And visual 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So he's a little heavier on visual than making it make sense or making sure that it's the right syntax. So that's what he's bringing to the table and what you can see from just the errors. But next we'll talk about the self-corrects. That'll give you some more information.
But we even said that on the visual, it can count as a visual error if they're just looking at the first letter.
But it might be, yeah, that they're only looking at the first letter. But so this is just the summary of how MSV affects errors.